program and what measures it will put in place to mitigate this anomaly. D, the department must expedite the development and finalization of these two pieces of progressive legislation in order for the entity to perform its task effectively and efficiently. The department must share with the committee if there is a memorandum of understanding with sister departments in order to achieve the noble goal. F, the department must provide the committee with a detailed report on how the arts and culture sector community will negatively affected by the budget cuts. The department must provide progress reports on how it intends to address this anomaly to ensure heritage sites in the province are not badly affected by the budget cuts. Program 3, recommendations. The department must provide the committee with breakdown of the budget in terms of how much goes to infrastructure, library, material, staffing, and other challenges faced by the libraries and archive services in the province. The department must, as a matter of great agents, engage with various municipalities in the province with a view to ensure that they submit compliance documents, including business plans, so that libraries can receive their subsidies timelessly. The department must present the committee with a recruitment plan and budget for vacancy, library contracts, posts, as well as capacity building programs of staff. The department must provide the committee with implementation plan with proper monitoring mechanisms to ensure that Izinguka Modular Library is completed on time. The department must provide the committee with a detailed report on how it intends to address this budget shortfall to such an extent that archive services are not negatively affected by the budget cuts. Program 4, recommendations. The department must provide the committee with a clear plans with measurable targets to ensure that the budget is utilized for development of sports and recreation in the province. The department must provide the committee with a clear plan to ensure that transfers to these bodies are done as a matter of great agents so that they can perform their task. The department must clarify the current status of this partnership with the multi-choice to the committee in terms of whether is it still on track or not for 2023-2024 financial year. The department must present a clear plan to the committee to ensure that this event leaves a lasting legacy in the province, in particular for the maintenance of netball facilities in the province.
Can you take the mic closer to your mouth?
Oh.
Yes. Proceed.
So I was just avoiding to be loud. The department must present a clear plan to the committee to ensure that the event, I'm repeating that, sorry. The department should provide the committee with a roll-out plan to fund the district academies, noting that rural and urban athletes benefit from that level. The department must provide the committee with a plan on how the entire will be procured and distributed equally amongst the clubs across the province. The department must provide the committee with sport activities that are going to participate in the exchange of in this exchange program. The department must present a detailed plan to the committee as how many coaches, administrators, and volunteers with disabilities are already participating in this program. The department should present an available budget and clear program for mobilization of young people to participate in Scout and Girl Guides program in the province. I table the report, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable members, are there clarity sought by the committee? Honorable Anil Kumar, you are the only one. Oh, sorry, Honorable Banga. In that order.
Greetings to you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the House at large. We directly go to 240, which talks about library and archive services. In the findings C and recommendation C, there is no fundamental mistake, but what we are talking about is, in the finding it is talking about policies. And if you go to the recommendation, we are talking about two pieces of legislation. A policy is only a primary driver to lead legislation. Then it becomes a critical point there. So I think either we need to correct that if they are intending to say it is a piece of legislation, a finding must be changed. Thank you.
Very clear. Honorable Banga.
It's 239. Around bullet iron, they are saying the department must provide a detailed account of how much was spent on Gqeberha and the Empire. I want to understand what is the intention of the committee. Is whether to support the two shows or to say there's something wrong that has happened in the transaction. That's what I want to understand. The second one is that in your report, in this budget, you're saying nothing about the Bay World. And I don't see you talking, you're talking about other institutions. But your budget and your report in the budget, please, man, kakume, man, mama, man. Are you saying nothing? Or is it because the department have not allocated money in relation to support the completion of the project? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May I request the HOD to occupy, especially this rack, these front seats, now that we are considering your report. You are a support to your MEC. So we must know when the report is tabled to occupy the first seat accordingly. Yes, Chairperson or committee members, 2 questions only.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. On the first one, Honorable Play, thank you very much. We have noted that Honorable Banga, Ngaba. The fact that it was not presented here, so we won't be able to entertain it on your last question. On the issue of Gqeberha, we will then refer that matter to the MEC. MEC will be in a better position to respond to that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. No further clarities. Thank you very much. Honourable members, any direct questions to the MEC? Honourable Banga, number 1. You are the only one, Honourable member.
MEC, thank you very much. You have heard my questions. The Bay World is a catalytic project for not only Nelson Mandela but for the province. But the outcomes of the report of the committee does not reflect an intention to expedite the project in terms of allocating a budget. On behalf of the legislature, I want to ask, what are your plans and what are you doing in terms of speeding up the implementation of that catalytic project, Nelson Mandela? Secondly, the committee, as it has been raised, it sent an intention that it sent to a department discourage the investment that we have made in Gqeberha and the Empire? And are you intending to give us an account or to stop the funding of these two beautiful projects that are marketing not only Port Elizabeth, but also the Eastern Cape? What are your intentions? Is there more money that is going to these two projects? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable MEC. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much, and good morning to you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I will respond when I respond to all to the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Banga, she will reflect on the issues you are raising during the debate time. Thank you. Sizawungena kwingxoxo-mpikiswano yemibutho ethunyelwe apha kule ndlu yowiso-mthetho. Invited to the podium the Honorable Zibonda from the Democratic Alliance. You've got 12 minutes, Honorable Member, to debate the report. And the next speaker will be from the ANC. I will advise him to come closer when honorable member is about to conclude, so that we don't waste any time. You can proceed. Take it closer to your mouth.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of the Executive Council, members of the Legislature, staff, and the members of the public. The department's aim through its budget should be that of creating a shared future and sense of belonging through collaborative efforts to forge social inclusivity and cohesion, offering youth a sense of purpose and pathways to become productive citizens, and creating opportunities to address the well-being by foregrounding youth and mental well-being. Studies show that a vicious cycle is emerging as a result of the underdevelopment in sports, in which lower investment in sport decreases the potential for athletes to build their talent. The problems are exacerbated when municipalities who are given the mandate to develop sporting facilities, such as the BCM, fail and then just decide to hand over sporting facilities to their cronies. Jan Smart's Athletic Court being an example. This means that there are fewer prospects for athletes to continue their sporting training and pursue professional sport careers. In turn, the lack of talent building opportunities leads to less return and the little investment put into local talent, further dilapidating sports development structures and sport career pathways. The same municipality is failing to provide electricity to the rowing club, which holds one of the biggest sporting events in the world in rowing, the Buffalo Regatta, which brings over 10 million of revenue to the city. We call on the department to intervene to ensure that sports facilities are given the attention they deserve. Honorable Deputy Speaker, Program 3 supports one of the key governmental goals aimed at transformation, sustainable development, and equitable access to information. Access to information is one of the keys to democracy. Allowing people to seek, receive public documents serves as a critical tool for fighting corruption, enabling citizens to fully participate in public life, making government more efficient, encouraging investment, improving literacy, and helping persons exercise their fundamental human rights. Government is confronted with the urgent need to improve the economy, strengthen institutions, modernize the public administration, fight corruption, and address civil unrest. Access to information can be used to achieve all of these objectives. How can all this be achieved when we fail to fund libraries as a strategic way of disseminating information to communities? The libraries sub-program of the department is often the biggest culprit when it comes to under-expenditure. We call on the department to ensure that we don't see the same trend at the end of this financial year. As the DA, we understand that the economy benefits when people use library resources to apply and seek employment. Some use it to improve job skills, while the disadvantaged use it to help break the cycle of poverty. During economic hardships, Our citizens tend to depend on the libraries. Where the DA governs in the Western Cape, Honorable Deputy Speaker, youth development is at the heart of department's strategic objectives. We allocate funds to even mitigate the risk of youth disillusionment in the Western Cape, mainly brought by a lot of crises, including the recent COVID-19 and its consequential impacts. There needs to be a stronger plan in working with other departments and spheres of government for the attainment and maintenance of proper sporting facilities and protection of heritage sites. Heritage sites are often left to ruins within the province, and the departments are often tied because they are privately owned. And a strategy must be created to solve this, to ensure that the sites are well kept and they are within the province. The department does not seem to have a plan in place to revitalize arts centers. This puts our artists at the back foot because these centers are the only available resources to the artists who are from poor backgrounds, who can use their talents to turn the situation around. The department needs to ensure that resources are utilized predominantly for the services and adequate support is provided across all programs in terms of budget and any other additional support. Issues of governance must be dealt with speedily to avoid any hindrance to service delivery. Disciplinary actions must be concluded and the issue of compensation reviewed and suppliers be paid within the 30 days period. Honorable Speaker, this report, there is a glaring challenge of the department to function properly and service the people of the province. The pressure that the officials of this department work under to deliver services to the public is very enormous. The budget is nowhere near sufficient to make it, and it makes little to no dent with the challenges facing the department. The museums are faced with budget constraints every year. This financial year, there is an increase in their budget, but they have chosen to prioritize payments of the boards over improving the museum's offerings and ensuring access by all. This, for me, means the department's priorities are not where they should be. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we cannot support this budget, and I appeal to all of you members of this House to reject it if we're serious about impacting the lives of our youth. It's June month. Please think of our youth. Thank you. The DA supports the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zibonda. Honourable members, I'm informed that EFF Honourable Dell is not in the House, is running late, and I think we must make a remark about that. We must take this work seriously, all of us. We are members of this legislature. Let's go straight to the African National Congress. Honourable Feni. Honourable Feni. Just before he can start, honourable members, let me make this injunction that this is his maiden speech or maiden debate, and this is sizawucela nizole i-maiden speech side sinike discretional time as presiding officers, but I hope you will finish within 18 minutes, honourable member. Thank you very much. Over to you, honourable member. Your 18 minutes starts now.
Somlomo obekekileyo ngokuzithoba okukhulu ndivumele nam ndikhahlele kwinkulumbuso yephondo Honorable Oscar Mabuyane, amalungu abekekileyo endlu ewisomthetho yephondo leMpuma Kapa, abaphathiswa bamasebe amagosa karhulumente akhoyo kuluntu ngokubanzi, nakuwe ndingakulibelanga somlomo, as we express our support to the report presented and welcome the budget of the department tabled. Allow us to make some certain observations under which this budget debate takes place. I'm confident that we know that this year marks 150th anniversary of the passing of Nkosi Maqoma Atsho Ngosobomvu on Robben Island in 1873, a gallant warrior who took us to battle in 3 frontier wars. Preceding that, Speaker, if we still recall, in 1856, the so-called cattle killing movement a very destructive incident of our history. As we all know, that we were confused, our people were confused by a legal silly girl called Nongause. Those who are rejecting this budget speech reminds me of that. Nothing to provide but just hallucinations. He taught us never to betray the cause of freedom, as well as our former president, Thabo Mbeki, who further extends it in his seminal works. We are collectively proud of the contributions he made in laying the foundations for the liberation of our continent from the colonial bondages of our unfortunate past. We support the initiative of the department on launching a program on wars of resistance that will culminate in the hosting of colloquium in Makhanda, Kanxele, and the Battle of Ekazini of 1819 at Rhodes University. This year also marks the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Organization of African Unity, later to be known as African Union. The role of the Organization of African Unity in the liberation of the continent is known and well documented. We appreciate its members' unwavering support of the liberation of South Africa under immense pressure from the then apartheid regime and its Western allies. This is also the 30th anniversary of the death of Comrade Chris Hani, who fell at the hands of a coward right-wing Polish immigrant, Janusz Walus. We remember and salute Comrade Chris Hani, Chris Hani's undying and disciplined revolutionary spirit, which the current generations must follow and emulate. Interestingly, Honorable Speaker, this debate takes place during the Youth Month, whose generations contributed to the freedom of South Africa, and her development cannot be overstated. Lastly, but no means the least, South Africa is hosting the 2023 Netball World Cup in Cape Town, which will welcome and support, and wish that we could find time to honor it by our presence as members of this legislature, except those hallucinations of the places of Western Cape being no-go areas. Honorable Speaker, we note and appreciate the support of the department towards the development of the creative industry in the Eastern Cape province. The film, music and art industries possess a serious potential of frustrating the rising levels of poverty and unemployment, especially among the youth of Eastern Cape. The Gqeberha telenovela has proven itself to be a catalyst towards the development of the film industry in the province. We note that its viewership has been steadily appreciating, giving effect to our calls for ongoing support of this initiative from all potential funders and supporters. We hope that this telenovela will induce other film writers and producers to see the Eastern Cape province as an untapped mecca of film production that is blessed with an alluring landscape that is laced undiscovered natural acting talents. The music industry's potential is another gem that the province has that remains not fully exploited by the established music industry of the country. We note the continued support of the Department of the Music Industry, particularly the choral music. Musicians from the Eastern Cape province and those associated with the province have always occupied an unavailable place in the national music arts. We hope that with Mr. Letusile Mcinga having won the Song of the Year at the Metro FM Awards, we will annually occupy our rightful place in the national music ratings. We are further optimistic that the passing of Dr. Latozi Mpahleni, more traditional music practitioners will feel compelled to pick up cudgels from where she left and follow in her footsteps. The heritage sector, the heritage sector continues to be the torchbearer in the preservation of our culture and cultural heritage. We support the initiative of the department in this regard, but however, feel that the state of our art centers deserves constant attention of the department and all relevant role players. Art centers must be a beacon of hope for both the users and clients by their very appearance. Londo ke siluxhasa oluphulo lwesebe lokulungiswa kwamaziko akumela kunje apha ephondweni singenzi sanxwe esingahambela indawo. The complete and final amalgamation of the Nelson Mandela Bay Theatre Complex and Guild Theatre in the Eastern Cape Performing Arts Institute is something that we are following with keen interest, Honorable Speaker. Their amalgamation, we believe, will advance our call for more funding and support for the performing art industry. Honorable Speaker, we noted the centenary closure of the event of Reverend John Knox Bokwe, hosted by the department at the Steve Biko Center in Ginsberg to mark the end of the centenary celebration of his life and legacy. As a writer himself, Reverend Bokwa will be very content with the work that the department is doing in supporting the self-published authors program. He will not only be elated with the department's undertaking to provide editorial services, including publishing their manuscript, but will be happier with the possibility of the department using their books in some of its programs. Through the literary work of E.K. Mkai, W.K. Tamsanga, JPPS, in the form of Ityala Lamawele, Ukubandandazile, and the House of Palo, respectively, we want their work to find significance and importance in the work of the current generation of emerging and established writers. Honorable Speaker, sociologists are in agreement that social cohesion can be defined as the strength of the relationships and a sense of solidarity among members of a community, to which we want to add the degree of inclusion and integration in a province or a country. Ndiyathemba ukuba andizikhonanga ezinkcuba buchopho somlomo, kodwa umbutho wesizwe uyaliseka iphulo lokwakha intsebenziswano kwimibutho ephambili ekwakheni isizwe. Sithetha nge-NPOs and NGOs. Social cohesion and also dovetails or ties up with the promotion of indigenous languages and knowledge system programs of the department. We are noting the increased use of indigenous languages in government circulars, and which that those government entities that are lagging behind will find the necessary strength to catch up. Indigenous languages must not end at a level of promotion, but non-indigenous language users must find it within themselves to increase their proficiency in the use of indigenous languages. It can't be that after 340 odd years, our indigenous names are still being mispronounced and written by non-indigenous languages speakers. I don't want to speculate, but I might be forgiven for thinking that this is sheer lack of trying and the desire to maintain the status quo of the past when it comes to language use and promotion. As we are in the early part of the 21st century, we must endeavor to carry our indigenous knowledge systems with us in areas such as agriculture, medicine, craft, and linguistics. For a failure to do so may signal the loss of tradition and culture in this fast-moving world. I know, Kesomlomo, that the department needs no invitation when it comes to the preservation of our know-how. in these and other areas that we may not have mentioned. The work of the Eastern Cape Geographic Names Council in the standardization of geographical names is noteworthy and deserve our collective support. It is encouraging to observe that the geographic names that the government gazetted have found accepted in popularity in the vast majority of citizens of the province and the country. The memorial sites that the department intends to develop as part of our liberation heritage route undoubtedly has our overwhelming support, and we are convinced that they will contribute towards tourism and the branding of the province as a home of legends, as indicated in the department. The library and archive center of the province are key in storing and disseminating information for public consumption and self-development. The lack of security in our public libraries has always been a point of concern to us as African National Congress. We anticipate that the electronic monitoring and surveillance system that the department is installing will serve as a deterrent to the destroyers of public libraries and archives centers of the province. The development of sport through sport and equipment allocation to especially rural areas by the department is noted and commended. This includes the resumption of Sport Tourism Fund, which we hope will turn our towns and cities into destinations of choice for major sporting events. Passing as they may, these events increase major opportunities for poor communities to generate an income for their self-sustenance. We note the partners that you have chosen for yourselves and hope that they will also bring something into the table. The bottom-up approach of the Premier's Cup promises to have a wide reach and impact, will hopefully serve as inspiration to aspiring athletes from a wide range of sporting codes. We advise that talent scouts and sporting luminaries be courted to add further interest into the programs. Recreation against crime in school sports have long played a significant role in taking children and adults alike out of the streets with a visible dent being made against crime and other deviant social ills. Sithi ke maziqhubeke ezinkqubo zikarhulumente. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, allow me to invite members of the legislature to the National Arts Festival that is currently underway in Makana. Enkosi ngondimamela, ndizifikela kule ndlu ihloniphekileyo kangaka. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Enkosi kakhulu ohloniphekileyo Honorable Fanny. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I will now Madbulele nani ngoziphatha kakuhle kangaka kule maiden speech. Wonke umuntu was attentive and he delivered it so well. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I will now invite the Honorable MEC Consiwe to conclude the debate. Honorable Consiwe, you've got 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Good morning to you. Good morning to the honorable members, the acting Premier, the members of the Executive Council, the HODs present here, and the officials of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature and other departments. Greetings to you all. It is my singular honor and pleasure to stand before this House today in a year that has been set aside to commemorate the life and times of the greatest Xhosa warrior, Nkosi Ujongo Msobomvu Maqoma. We have remained true to the call by our President, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, and our Honorable Premier Mabuyane, to remember the gallant warriors who stood bravely before the barrel of a gun in defense of our precious land in the good 9 wars of resistance. Nkosi Ujongo Msobomvu Maqoma fought and led 4 of those wars, stretching for 100 years from 1779 and 1889. This is why we have declared the year 2023 as the year of Nkosi Ujongo Msobomvu Maqoma, to remember his 150 years after his death. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we have prioritized the promotion of social cohesion, mass participation in sports, arts and culture. The purpose of this is realization that these are instruments through which we will achieve a social cohesive society. This is why we have embarked on trying to reach even unreachable corners of this province, as we know that this province is most vast. Trying to ensure that sports, recreation and arts and culture were previously not placed and underplayed. Culture is promoted where it was once ignored, and all communities have recreational centers. We are alive to the reality that we are operating within the constraints of fiscus. Hence, we have proposed that our hearts to spend wisely. Every cent counts. We have put systems in place that will assist in keeping the correct spending path. Honorable Deputy Speaker and honorable members, our bid to digitalize our libraries and archives has seen us increase on our budget on goods and services. We are pleased to announce that it is for a good cause, as 217 libraries in the province will now be connected and be making use of e-books. We have allocated million rands. We have allocated over 28 million rands for achieving this financial year for archiving, whilst over 1 million rand has been set aside for subscribing the e-books. The other reason for this increase is that we are employing 56 young people through the new initiative, which is the Social Sector EPWP Incentive Grant. This is part of the department's drive to fight poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, we continue to service our tuning agreements with the state law of the Lower Saxony in Germany. We are sending 2 museum practitioners to go learn best practices on museum and heritage management in Germany. At least 300,000 has been set aside for this noble initiative. In sports and recreation, we have set aside 1.5 million rand for exchange programs in the amateur boxing and football. Lower Saxony will bring 14 youngsters as part of the youth exchange programs. Now, Fumana Naba Kwenyan, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the department is also looking into functioning of its entities, and to this end, it's reviewing some of the acts that govern them for the purpose of improving their functionality. Reports to this end will be submitted to the House within the 30 days, as required by the Portfolio Committee. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the creative sector was hit hard by the arrival of the COVID-19 in our shores. Some have not recovered from that financial loss. To this end, the department will implement the new festival approach, which is intended to increasingly benefit the creative sector. Deputy Speaker and honorable members, we are looking into giving a facelift to the South End Museum in Umud, Abeja, Mamele Honorable Bank, and Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe Museum in Kwamasizake Township, Grafreinet, Dr. Peas Notier. Both these museums are important as they house important exhibitions in our history. We have also strengthened ties between the National Department and the National Heritage Council to ensure they provide financial support to protect, preserve and promote culturally and historical significant heritage sites in the province. We have also set aside 1 million rands for the standardization of geographical names of the area this financial year. Kala in Sakisizwe local municipality is proposed to change to be Kalanga, but public hearings took place in April and popular view was to retain the name of Kala. Algoa Bay to be changed to Nelson Mandela Bay, Colchester Nelson Mandela Bay municipality to be changed to Nakukama, East London to change to Gombo, and news in Danzane, Buffalo City Metropolitan. Ado in Sundays River Local Municipal to Ngatu, Kelkut in Sundays River Local Municipal to Kweba, Grafrenia to Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, New Bethesda in Sarabatman District to Kwano Elin, Sparrowville in Sarabatman District to Enono Peshepa, and a stop to Sarabatman District, Kwamsek, Bishop Ulimba, and Aberdeen in Sarabatman District to Kamtipua. The department will report progress on the work to this end on a quarterly basis, but the work is still ongoing. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we are looking into nurturing talent at an early age. To this end, there has been an increase in conditional grant for intervention and new projects excuse me, for the Netball World Cup legacy programs and return of the school sports national championships. We are also elated to be hosting the Netball World Cup trophy tour in all districts of this province and both metros. The tour will ignite interest in the sports and also see youngsters benefit through coaching clinics. As I sit down, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I want to reaffirm our position in promoting total participation in sports, recreation, arts and culture by saying the Eastern Cape, the Eastern Cape Academy of Sport will receive 1.1 million during the year under review, while the club development is allocated an amount of 2.1 million to cater for 120 clubs for the provision of attire and equipment during the year under review. Club development equipment is provided in the conditional grant according to the approved framework. Sport equipment and attire provided for 16 priority codes across the districts where clubs were identified and consultation with the district officials and local sports clubs. We are also strengthening support for disability sports, allocating 500,000 to that sector during this period. As I am sitting down, I just want to reflect on the Empire. The department is focusing on the second season, but we know that the budget for that program is with the ECDC. And lastly, the Bay World is being renovated. The program of renovation has resumed. Thank you very much. Ndiyabulela kakhulu, honorable members and Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mrs. Sabulela Mphathiswa kakhulu. Honorable members, I now put the report. Any objection? Thank you very much. There being none, honorable members, I will ask the Secretary to read the second order of the day.
Consideration of vote number 9, Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism, Appropriation Bill 2023.
Thank you very much. I will now ask the chairperson to table the report.
Hey. Are we well in birthday? Yeah. Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, I stand here on behalf of Honorable Ndamas, who is not well. It's just that on the message on the how we worked, you know how we work, honorable members. That the department this time has a 32% increase allocated, and also when we go to findings, because I know in terms of your times, on the program 1, we have about 2 findings where we said the departmental's financial management division has a 23% vacancy rate, and also the department's head office accommodation has not been finalized. Then we recommended that the department must submit a report on steps taken to deal with the vacancy rate, and also the progress on the finalization of the office accommodation. On the program 2, Honorable Deputy Speaker, we said the program budgets increased by 43%, and also it includes Kucha Development's implementation of the water effluence projects, Eastern Cape Development Corporation's establishment of Eastern Cape Economic Zone Fund, property recapitalization and modernization, East London Industrial Development Zone's refurbishment of data center, and Eastern Cape Liquor Board's implementation of the Eastern Cape Liquor Act. The department's provincial economic development strategy is under review, and then the department's funding of informal businesses under the informal business support program is limited by the program's stringent funding regulations, informal trader lack of access of zoned business space and lack of permits. D, the proposed migration from internal combustion of engines, ICE, to electric vehicles, EV, as asked by Elon Musk, faces an uncertain policy environment due to Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, which is DTIC, slow policy formulation process. The policy uncertainty poses investment risk to the Eastern Cape automotive sector. We recommend, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that the department must submit a progress report on the utilization of the transferred funds, and the department must also submit the peers review report to the committee, and the department must also submit a plan so that we'll ensure that how it ensures the informal traders will access funding and business development support with ease. And then the department must engage the DTIC on the proposed migration to EVs and report to the committee, all that within the 30 days. On program 3, we had 2 findings there where we talked of the renovation of tourism infrastructure and the development of new footprints in the protected areas. It appears to be at odds with the protecting environment. The estuaries in the province are under severe pressure due to land-based pollution, silting of spawing areas due to climate change, and effects of connectivity of the systems around the coastlines. We recommend that the department must submit a plan that will create balance between conservation and development in the development of tourism infrastructure and new footprints. And then the department must also submit a plan for alleviating pressure on estuaries. Then on the public entities, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Chair of Chairs, wanted to be Speaker, on the ECTC, we say the committee commends the steps taken towards restructuring the property portfolio, but the ECTC's lack of control for properties under illegal invasion is still a challenge, as it cannot fully manage collections and evictions. There is a lack of clarity on how the ECTC's SMME loan finance incentive scheme will benefit the 350 targeted SMEs. The Invaba Fund increased non-financial support to cooperatives from 120 to 200 cooperatives. There is a lack of clarity about ECTC's plan to implement capital projects in the newly established Eastern Cape Economic Development Fund. And we recommend that ECTC must submit that plan that outlines how it will regain control of properties under the illegal invasions and how it will improve collections and evictions management. The ECTC must submit a plan with a detailed budget breakdown of the items that will be acquired for the SMMEs through loans and incentives. If I could rush, because there are other findings there. On the East London IDZ, we said in there, the East London IDZ performance targets of the 2023-24 show great variability and not give a clear picture of what to expect from its performance. The East London IDZ Township Economy Development Initiative does not appear to have a policy that will guide the program's rollout. The proposed proclamation of the Ntabo Zuko's industrial site as an SEZ is delayed by the DTIC. And the East London ISDZ, we said, must submit a report of the effect of the fluctuation performance target, and then it must also submit a policy that will guide the implementation of the township's economy development program. And lastly, they must also submit a progress report on the proclamation of the Ntabo Zuko industrial site. And we're saying this must include the explanation on the cause of delay and the steps taken to speed up the project. On the Kuha Development Corporation, Honorable Chair of Chairs, the CDC is waiting on the DTR and the Provincial Treasury's approval for 2 projects. That is the special purpose vehicles, and the CDC has a shortfall for SEZ operational funding, the allocation for the proposed Wild Coast Industrial Development Zone. The shortfall in the SEZ funding resulted in Kuha's inability to pay creditors within 30 days, as required by the BFMA, and the ongoing disruptions in electricity supply negatively affect the CDC's job outlook and expected economic growth. The CDC's non-tax revenue decreased because of the declining portfolios in projects implemented on behalf of the clients and tenants of the SEZ. The first phase of the Beijing Automotive Group, which is BIKE project, will be completed in June 2023. The CDC did not receive full allocation of the 139 million it requested for the SEZ operations. I'll jump the recommendations so that our members can take to, so that I go to the Eastern Cape Tourism Agency, which is the ECPTA. The ECPTA has enabled the participation of 8 previously disadvantaged individuals, which is the PTIs, in the Provincial Game Industry Transformation Program. ECPTA's budget allocation was reduced from 235 million 195 to 220 million. The sustained underfunding jeopardizes ECPTA's operation. The CPA's tourism products and destination marketing efforts are hampered by poor roads, visas, tourism products, maintenance, destination signage, and tourist safety. Can I just go to the Eastern Cape Gangling Board, Honorable Chair of Chairs? The DDIAT, we say they advise the Eastern Cape Gangling
sorry,
Board.
Chair. I've paused your time. You have 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So you can juggle around
All
5
right.
minutes. Thank you.
On the ECGB, we said the DDIAT has advised the department, ECGB, to conduct comprehensive socio-economic impact study on the possibility of introducing indefinite licensing in the province. Also, the grant funding there has increased by the average of 3%, and also they face an unregulated internet gambling and plans to benchmark with other international jurisdictions. On the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, we have found that they received additional funding of 22 million for commencing the implementation of new act, payment of capital assets, additional positions for the compliance and enforcement division, and goods and services. And I will rush and say on there's a reported National Liquor Authority is ineffective compliance monitoring of distributors and wholesalers leads to increased cases of unlicensed liquor trading. The Eastern Cape Liquor Board plans to undertake demographic profile research of liquor traders to formulate a targeted strategy for development of and transformation of the liquor industry. On the general findings, Honorable Chair of Chairs, I'm just rushing there, leaving the recommendations for honorable members to peruse. We said the people in the underserviced and rural areas are unaware of the DDR's program and its public entities. The mandate and operations for the province municipal development agencies appears to be misaligned with the PAIRS and Eastern Cape investment strategy. The department's recruitment program prioritizes the filling of the service delivery positions in the district and addresses employment equity in the senior management positions. The department's budget had a sizable increase to some of its programs and public entities, but doubts remains about the ability to fully expand the allocations allocated. I will leave the recommendations also, so members, general recommendations, and thank the committee staff, the management, and the MEC, and also the public entities we've interacted with. Thank you, Honorable Chairs. We so present.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Fihlane. May I then invite questions of clarities to the committee? Honorable Pillay. Yeah. Honorable Pillay.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Page 251, 252. 251, the last one talking about ECDC's capacity, that's the finding. But if you go to the recommendation, you are asking for expenditure of the projects. Expenditure of the project can be a way to capacity, but it does not link. Probably we need a clarity. Page 253, 254. Again, that CEDC, the finding is talking about a full allocation of Rand 139 million. Full allocation means that somewhere the allocation did not reach. But if you look at the recommendation, it's talking about underfunding. The finding nowhere is talking about underfunding. The funding is only, the finding is only talking about they did not receive the full allocation, unless it to be clarified. Thank you.
Committee members.
All right, where there are no linkages, I think we'll also implore to the table so that they might link accordingly. But on the issue of the full, we said they did not get the full allocation like that. They did not get the full allocation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, committee members. You may take your seat. Any questions to the MEC? Okay. Being none, honorable members, just take your seat. Before we actually go to the debate on the report of the committee, honorable members, I would like to make the ruling on the utterances made by the MEC Peters at the legislature sitting yesterday on the 21st June 2023. Honorable members, I've been called upon to make a ruling following a point of order raised by Honorable Kasim relying on Rule 92, Sub-Rule 1, alleging that Honorable MEC Peters used an unparliamentary, offensive or unbecoming language in her response to the debate on the report of the Portfolio Committee on Rural Development and Agrarian Reforms when the MEC stated members of the opposition were behaving like aliens. Rule 92, Sub-Rule 1 provides that a member may not use unparliamentary, offensive or unbecoming language in the House or the Committee of the Legislature. Honorable members, in a ruling previously given in this House, it has been explained that in the matter between the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces versus Malema, 535/2015, ZASA 69, the Supreme Court of Appeal had found that the purpose of the standing order on unparliamentary language was not to ensure that parliamentary debates are not clouded by personal insult. The question in front of us, or the question presented, is whether the language used by Honorable MEC Peters is offensive or not. Offensive language is a language giving or meant or likely to give offense. What will give offense is measured according to community standards and includes profanity, insulting, and racist language. The Oxford Dictionary defines alien to somebody or something as a strange and frightening, something which is different from what one is used to. I therefore find that the utterances made by Honorable MEC Peters are not in contravention of Rule 92 of the Standing Rules, which prohibit the use of unparliamentary language. Honorable members, I further wish to state that the robust debates are an integral part of the parliamentary debates. I therefore turn down my ruling. Thank you. Honorable members, may I then call on the Democratic Alliance for the debate. Honorable Cowley. Your 12 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs. Honourable Chair of Chairs, Honourable Premier in absentia, Honourable members, officials, guests, and all aliens here with us today, I greet you all. Honourable Chair of Chairs, the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism is a complex animal that has a multitude of strategic priorities. It has the unenviable task of trying to stimulate job creation and economic growth under incredibly challenging circumstances. Honourable Chair, over the past few years there have been a series of black swan events that have impacted on the global economy. The first and most devastating was the COVID-19 pandemic, which not only indiscriminately killed millions of people across the world, but also brought trade and economies to their knees. Another black swan event is the extreme weather conditions being experienced globally as a direct result of climate change, which have wreaked havoc, and our own province has not been exempted from these violent weather conditions, which have caused hundreds of millions of rands in damage and cost many precious lives. The third black swan event is the ill-conceived and ridiculous invasion of the Ukraine by an allegedly mentally deranged megalomaniac, which not only cost billions of dollars, but tragically also has brought about the loss of human lives, to which nobody can put a value. From an economic point of view, the impact has been global and devastating, bringing into clear focus the vulnerability of many nations, including our own, with regard to food security. One of the direct results of Putin's criminal invasion of the Ukraine is the fact that our indigent people, who have already been failed by government and live from hand to mouth without any prospect of a job, can no longer afford to buy food. And of course, the worst for last, the rolling blackouts caused by decades of mismanagement of our state-owned entity Eskom, much like Denel, SAA and others, has broken the back of our fragile economy, destroyed business and jobs, and sadly has resulted in a trust deficit amongst investors. This trust deficit is exacerbated by foolhardy and populist proposed national policies which seek to drag this country back to apartheid-era-like quota systems for jobs based on skin color. It is within this unstable and high-risk framework that this department somehow has to pull a rabbit out of a hat and achieve the almost impossible, to attract foreign and local investors to our province, to create meaningful and sustainable jobs, to attract both local and foreign tourists to our shores, and to protect the integrity of our environment. Honourable Chair, we can only pray that they succeed, but the odds are stacked against them. It is very comforting to note, therefore, that the budget to this department has been increased by a substantial 32%, from 1.36 to 2 billion. It becomes critical that every penny allocated to these three programs is spent prudently. While our SEZs continue to do us proud, there are red flags that the department must navigate and bad habits that need to be scrapped. I shall elucidate. Let us look at the ECDC. Honourable Chair, this entity employs officials who bungled the multi-million rand property portfolio. In the 21-22 financial year, just 387,000 rand was collected in rentals, as opposed to the 4.5 million that was billed. This is a paltry 8.5% of the projected rental income on the recovered properties for that year. If we include the more than 90 properties that are still being recovered and which should have been contributing to the total rental income, then this entity reached just 3.2% of its projected income target. This is a disgrace. This is the same entity that botched the Isiqalo Youth Fund, also known as the Cash for Cadres Fund, that was removed from their portfolio and still seemingly has no idea how to implement capital projects. Yet their 6 executive managers are awarded for these failures with an obscene combined salary package of 14.95 million rand a year. Now, the same entity gets a whopping 81.7% increase in budget after mismanaging millions. It seems we have our own mini ESCOM. It is time the SIU followed the money trail in ECDC. Another red flag is the fact that the head office building is yet to be completed. In the Western Cape, the DA government can build an entire school from scratch in 65 days. In the Eastern Cape, we can't complete a renovation of a building in 4 years. This ineptitude gives our province a bad name. Honourable Chair, the CDC has received a massive financial injection this year, so they must resume paying creditors within the legislated 30 days. It is most concerning that a big challenge to their cash flow is government clients who haven't paid their bills. What are the consequences for this? We cannot tolerate government choking its very own investment initiatives. I would like to caution the CDC that the Phase 1 of the Beijing Automotive Group, or BAIC plant, was supposed to be operational years ago. The job creation projections were spectacular. The building still stands empty, and every year we are told that by June it will be functional. Well, it isn't. CDC needs to get that white elephant up and running as a matter of urgency. Thousands of jobs mean tens of thousands of people saved from abject poverty. Its functionality is not negotiable. The reason I say this, Honourable Chair, is because our province hangs on a cliff edge with regard to the future of our automotive industry. This is because the DTIC, for 3 long years now, has failed to finalise the green paper on the shift from internal combustion engine manufacture to electronic vehicle manufacture and produce a workable policy in order to protect an industry that boasts a 75% export market and contributes significantly to our provincial GDP. If Mercedes-Benz were to decide at the end of its current production cycle that South Africa is no longer a suitable platform for vehicle production because of a policy deficit, they will seek greener pastures. Buffalo City Metro will become a ghost town, and thousands of jobs will be lost. I appeal to the MEC and the Premier to persist, I know they have done it, to persist in turning up the heat at national level. 1 job lost is 1 too many. In the DA-led Western Cape, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism has launched the Export Competitiveness Enhancement Program, which supports businesses and industries that are export ready by ensuring that they meet international market requirements. This stimulates the GDP, which has in turn created thousands of more jobs. The DTRC would do well to learn from this. Honourable Chair, the cost of consultants is a blight when one assumes that competent people who are fit for purpose are being employed by the department. The 22 million rand spent on consultants and advisors has had little impact on outcomes and revenue streams. Why are they still sucking up a budget? Let us look at the public entity executive salaries. While there are some who really do earn their keep, there are others, like the Maibuye Bus Company, who earn several million a year for running a few dozen buses in just 3 municipalities in the province. The ECRDA, not a shining example of functionality, where the top guns milk 21 million rand in salaries per annum. They are gas guzzlers grooving on the gravy train, allegedly, of course. Now juxtapose that wasteful expenditure against the allocation to the ECPTA. Let us not forget the Premier bragging, rightly so, that about the province's great performance in attracting more than 8 billion rands worth of investment in tourism to our province in the 21-22 financial year, against all odds. Which public entity was involved in that success? The ECPTA. Yet it is the only entity which has had a reduced allocation for this financial year. So instead of this province backing its winning horses, it chooses to chop them off at the knees. This entity is tasked with the enormous responsibility of protecting the integrity of our natural heritage, expanding our tourism footprint, which is potentially our biggest job creator in the province. The committee requires clarity on the matter of Mkambati, where it is alleged that a proposed infrastructure development has been extended onto
2 minutes left,
pristine...
Honourable Member.
Thank you, Chair. Has been extended onto pristine protected land, while the community is allegedly burdened with all risk with regard to this development, which, by the way, is shrouded in secrecy. The ECPTA is tasked with the crucial work of investigating these allegations. The reduction in their allocation is irresponsible in the extreme and requires an urgent intervention to ensure that further funding is ring-fenced for this critical program and this critical entity. The report is comprehensive and accurate, and the DA accepts it. However, until Treasury backs its winning horses, the Democratic Alliance will not back this budget. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Cowley. I note that the Economic Freedom Fighters, Honourable Matigizela, is not in the House to debate the report, and I will therefore move on and to the next speaker, the African National Congress, Honourable Tekana Qotiwe. Your 18 minutes starts now. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs, Honourable Acting Premier, Honourable members of this august House, and the senior management of our government, with our guest, good morning. Honourable Mvego, you are lucky to be the all-in-one. When they are talking economic development, they also relate to finance. They said they back economic development, but until Treasury. So you are unfortunately for that, but it's a blessing to you. Honourable Chair of Chairs, kindly allow me to start the debate by stating that the world is going through the economic decline and meltdown. There are a lot of factors that result in the economic decline, like higher inflation rate, just to name one, which can be caused by what is happening in other parts of the world, The war that has been going on between Russia and Ukraine has direct negative economic decline in parts of the world and the African continent, being the worst affected by this reality, and South Africa is not immune from that sad reality. Recently, South African President His Excellency, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa led the Ukraine leaders' peace mission team to initiate peace talks with Russia and Ukraine to end the war through peace negotiations. As the African National Congress, we hope that these talks will bring the good results that will benefit the whole world. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the Eastern Cape is endowed with a number of resources that give it a competitive edge. These include water, biodiversity, and an extensive coastline of over 800 kilometers along the Indian Ocean, with enormous potential of the ocean economy, as well as mineral and energy resources. The potential for the agriculture and forestry always remains undertapped. Arable fields are used for grazing lands, mainly due to lack of capital to make necessary land improvement for profitable farming. Eastern Cape Province has also an illustrious history, most significantly its history of centuries-long struggle waged war against colonial dispossession of across the Cape region. It is a province that bears a strong imprint of the early inhabitants of the southernmost region of the continent. In language, cultural practices, artistic impressions, and artifacts, this rich history is an asset for the province. Therefore, Honorable Chair of Chairs, it is in this context why the Eastern Cape is so rural and poor, yet with abundance of resources, solely because of its resistance to these wars, and the resources were forcefully taken and benefited the few. Therefore, to build the Eastern Cape economy will not be easy because of this history, Honorable Chair of Chairs. It is only the African National Congress that at heart has vision and goals of building the economic development of the province and free them from the bandages of poverty, inequality, and unemployment to prosperity through our policies. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the ANC is now in the phases of rebuilding itself, and as contained in the 55th National Conference resolution of the ANC in Nasrec, and its focus is on aggressively implementing the economic reconstruction and recovery plan. At the heart of the plan is mobilizing investment, creating new jobs, and protecting existing jobs and accelerating industrialization, promote growth and development, promote youth employment, small business development, and cooperatives. Build a developmental state with the technical and political capacity to lead development and transform the economy. All the above, honorable members, are a mammoth task that needs every shoulder on the wheel and needs all of us to work together, honorable members, to achieve the good results in building the Eastern Cape we want. Honorable Chair of Chairs, as the African National Congress, we note the great concern that South Africa's unemployment rate in the first quarter of 2023 was recorded at 32.9% and is among the highest in the world. According to the quarterly labor force survey, this is an increase of 0.2 of a percentage point compared to the fourth quarter, which was 32.7. State President has been going around globe meeting with the counterparts of different countries in pursuit of its foreign direct investments. Therefore, we hope that his visit will yield the good result for the country to decrease the high unemployment that South Africa is faced with. Honorable Chair of Chairs, according to the latest labor market report of the third quarter of 2022, revealed that the Eastern Cape unemployment rate has declined to 42.4, which has declined of 0.2%. The sad reality is that Although there's positive decline trend, however, our unemployment rate remains relatively high than the national unemployment rate of 32.7, and the most affected is the youth. Trying to curb and combat the high unemployment rate, Honorable Chair of Chairs, as the African National Congress, we are thrilled that the department has managed to fill 72 vacant posts, which is approximately 67% of these, Honorable Chair of Chairs, when in service delivery programs, of which 40 posts were at regional level, representing grassroots service delivery. However, Honorable Chair of Chairs, we urge the department to speed up the 55 posts that are currently under recruitment, on the basis that once those filled, this will further bolster the department's capacity to deliver. Honorable members, our people are waiting for service delivery. Therefore, the department at all material times must fulfill its constitutional mandate obligation on service delivery without any fail. Furthermore, honorable members, as one of our initiatives to support jobs, access, and career development, the department rolled out the Learner Driver Support Program for employees and interns in the department. The initiative aims to support lower-level employees and interns to obtain their driver licenses, which is a minimum requirement for most jobs. Therefore, honorable members, as the African National Congress, we view all these programs and interventions undertaken by the department as the one-stepper closer in job creation and eliminating poverty in the household of those young people who have benefited from these programs. Honorable Chair of Chairs, our provincial government is trying by all means to implement the economic recovery plan of our economy under very difficult conditions, especially after the pandemic that has put a strain to already our ailing economy, such that we witness our small businesses being closed because these were businesses which led to them being faced with liquidity crisis. Therefore, as the ANC, we support the strides that the department is embarking on in paying all suppliers within an average of 11 days, and also rolling out successful supplier engagement days in all districts. We view that as the positive steps towards the right direction in supporting our SMMEs. Honorable Chair of Chairs, as the African National Congress, we are pleased that in trying to resolve the question of unemployment in townships and rural economy, the Department of Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism made the intervention to support our people and their small businesses by non-financial and financial support to boost them to play a meaningful role in the mainstream economy of, as presented in the policy speech of the department for 2023-2024. Namely, of those strides is Small Towns, Township and Rural Entrepreneurship Program, which is STRIP, is aimed at supporting local enterprising efforts and improving participation in the economy by black operators, a progressive intervention if legacies of the past are to be addressed. The Informal Business Support Program has provided 12.9 million in funding to support 400 micro and formal businesses in the manufacturing, textile, and clothing services sector. The funding has been used to purchase equipment, machinery, and inputs for the beneficiaries. To make impact in township and rural economy, the department will be collaborating with district municipalities and metros to host micro, small, and medium enterprise summit in preparation for the provincial and national summits in 2024. This is part of our efforts to implement the SMME provincial strategy, which involves working with strategic institutions such as higher learning institutions to conduct research on the sector and make informed policy decisions. The department will continue with local regional economic development fund, SMSEs. The grant fund provides financial support to registered or formal business entities. Since its establishment, more than 200 million has been disbursed to successful business enterprises. The department is in advanced stages of digitalization of Alright Fund applications, a system that will improve efficiencies as well as turnaround time for applications, ongoing awareness and information sharing programs are also critical to improve compliance to legislation and requirements. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Chair of Chairs, to grow our economic growth, which will result in creating jobs of our people, you need to create the environment to be conducive and attractive to investors to invest their money that will earn them positive returns to their investments, whilst creating employment for our people in the process of investing in our provinces and growing our economy. Therefore, Honorable Chair of Chairs, as ANC, we are thrilled that there's a reduction in unemployment in the province, and we believe that there is a direct correlation of the decline in unemployment rate as a result of good work that was done by our provincial government, of which we should be proud now that Eastern Cape held its provincial investment conference towards the end of 2022, which saw the announcement of 10 new projects with an investment value of 46 billion. Key for the province will be unlock the renewable energy pipeline, firm up coordination in the province through the Investment Council, diversity regional investment through Wild Coast, SEZ and Eastern Cape Seaboard development, and explore sectors that show strong growth, prospects such as IT and software, film and others. However, Chair of Chairs, we have witnessed this steady increase in our economic growth in the province because of political stability in the provincial government and the attitude of provincial government towards good governance. To achieve good governance is through having right people at the right position with relevant experience and qualification to perform their duties, as we have seen in the 3D public entities, and where there are challenges, they must be attended to and get addressed. I'm mentioning the Honorable Chair of Chairs because our scheduled 3D public entities, the East London Development Zone, Kucha Development Zone and ECDC continue to lead our efforts in attracting and promoting investment in the province. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the State of Province Address and Budget Speech have already spoken on the establishment of the auto sector aftermarket program that will benefit 300 panel beaters and mechanics in our province. This is the program that will be given to AIDC at the value of 3 million. The department will also continue to support business in distress through various initiatives, including Manufacturers Support Center and Job Stimulus Fund. And the department has budgeted 36 million for the coming year. We continue to support the provincial government to work tirelessly in bringing and attracting the foreign direct investment into our province to fight and reduce the unemployment, poverty and inequality. In the Eastern Cape, we therefore welcome the opportunity brought by BRICS and the Department of International Relations and Cooperative through the chair of the roadshow, Minister for Small Business Development, Ms. Stella Ndabeni-Abrams. The roadshow is a pre-awareness event to the BRICS Summit to take place in August. It has opportunity to delegates of the roadshow to unpack the South African's chairpersonship to BRICS, as well explore trade and investment opportunities emanating from South Africa's participation in the economic bloc of the development countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, including South Africa. Therefore, there will be a lot of economic development opportunities, spin-offs emanating from this partnership and benefiting the people of this country and the Eastern Cape. In conclusion, Chairperson, as the African National Congress, we believe that equitable opportunities to improve livelihood of our people constituted the vision of our founding fathers and must constitute the guiding light for our current and future generations of leaders. Without such inclusive development, our societies will remain plagued by political marginalization and socio-economic inequalities. And it is these conditions that inflame violence and ultimately threatens our collective peace, security, and development. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the ANC support the report as prescribed. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable MEC, you have your 10 minutes to respond to the debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Greetings to you and greetings to all members in the House, officials, ladies and gentlemen, and the media. I think there will be a time, Honorable Chair of Chairs, where only the ANC and the DA will be in the House. But with the rise of the Patriotic Alliance, I doubt even the DA is going to be in the House. There might be, there might be only two parties in this House. It has been a challenging period as the country continues to face a daunting prospect of growing the economy in spite of global and local economic setbacks. And I think Honorable Cowley is agreeing to that. But there are a few things that I think I must correct before going here. The first one is that, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Isikalo was never in ECTC. It was within the department itself. When ECTC was struggling, we tabled in the portfolio committee our plans to revive ECTC. We even appointed a new board and did away with the whole board. We appointed a new CEO. And ECTC came and presented to the portfolio committee all its plans in terms of how it was going to deal with the challenges that are faced by ECTC. And I can say without a shadow of doubt, Honorable Chair of Chairs, that we can see an improvement in the performance of ECTC. The bike project is a national project. I know that a target was given by DTIC of June for the bike project to start, or the bike factory to open in Gqeberha. We are in constant contact with the DTIC and the ministry on this matter, and we will soon give feedback to the provincial government and the legislature where we stand. It is true that the green paper is a challenge. It has not moved swiftly, but we did indicate that we took as an Eastern Cape a conscious decision to help other provinces that are affected by the automotive industry to make inputs into that paper. We facilitated that with Gauteng, and we did the same with the KZN, and there were submissions. On the ECRDA and Maibuye, unfortunately, they don't fall within my department, so the utterances will be responded to at some point by the relevant ministers. On ECPTA, I know that they had a budget, their previous budget was bigger than what they have, but you must remember, honorable members, that at some point the department we had as government a stimulus fund which was approved by this House of 1.1 billion rand. And the reason for ECPTA at that point in time to have such a budget was because they benefited from the 1.1 billion rand of the stimulus fund. So what they are funded now for is what they have submitted in terms of their business plan. So it is not a situation where we are not supporting the winning horse or backing the winning horse. The utterances on Russia by the DA were expected. I do not think they are coming as a surprise. It just tells us where they stand. They are unfortunate, but they also tell us where the DA stands today when it comes to the horrendous past of the apartheid regime. Because, Chair, when we were fighting against apartheid, the West supported it and sustained it. And that's the reason that we took a decision to rather facilitate for a peaceful solution than stoking the fires. The West must know. In fact, we, as supported by GA, must know that they have chosen sides. Their enemies are not our enemies. And I think this was said by one of our leaders a long time ago. And they will not choose friends for us. So, with their attachment towards the West, they will remain there. But they are not going to choose enemies, friends for us. Their enemies remain their enemies. On the cost of consultant, it cuts across all departments. We have raised this matter in both portfolio committees, whether it comes to finance and in economic development, that the use of consultant is a matter that is provincial treasury is watching with at all times, because as earlier in the earlier debate, there was something that was mentioning how consultants have used, municipalities have used consultants and yet could not get clean audit. So it's something that both departments are watching in terms of ensuring that there is a limited use of consultants. I would agree with something that says if you use consultants, there must be a benefit, but also the use of consultants should lead to the transfer of skills to within that particular department or that municipality, such that at the end, when they exit, that skill is contained within that department. The economic setbacks that have been raised had a devastating effect onto the economy, with businesses shedding jobs and others closing down as they struggled to sustain themselves. On a rather positive development, Honorable Speaker, we tabled this year's budget vote, observing a declining trend on provincial unemployment rate, as you would understand, in the last quarter of 2022, with trade accounting for the highest jobs gained, followed by manufacturing, finance, and construction. We're even pleased with the latest increase in the employment figures that have been recorded by the province for quarter one of 2023. This follows the release of the quarterly labor force survey for quarter one of 2023, where the numbers in employment resulted to official unemployment rate in the province decreasing by 2.1 percentage points. Whilst we are pleased with that trajectory.
2 minutes.
Okay. The state of our economy remains subdued. Our plans for the 2023-24 financial year therefore had to consider meaningful ways of supporting businesses whilst continuing with our priorities as per our 2019-2024 strategic plans. There is a program or a plan to fill all the vacancies. As it stands, there are 14 vacant funded posts in the financial management of the department. Of these, 12 have been included on the department's 2023-24 annual recruitment plan. The challenges that we can continue to encounter in this journey are a constant reminder that the journey to success is indeed not an easy one. Ours is to develop a habit to go an extra mile. Honorable Chair of Chairs, we have full confidence in the leadership and the workforce of our institutions in the sector to fulfill their onerous task of improving the economic standing of our province. It is through support and guidance from our oversight structures that we shall improve. And for that reason, we thank the legislature, in particular the Portfolio Committee, for their unwavering support to the department and its entities. May we continue to work together in pursuit of an inclusive and growing economy that creates jobs and secures livelihoods for all. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. I put the report. Any objection? I will ask the Secretary to read the third order of the day.
Consideration of vote number 10, Transport Appropriation Bill 2023 of the Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ma Lamlela, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Transport. Your 15 minutes starts now, Honorable Member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Manbulise kuwe ndibulise kwi-executive yalapha ekhaya, ndibulise kumalungu alendlu yowiso-mthetho, ndibulise kwabo bazokusi xakameza apha ekhaya, ndibulise kubasebenzi balapha ekhaya ngobunjalo babo. Honorable Chair of Chairs, because of time, I will just go through the recommendations to the report so that ndingakutyeli ixesha kule 15 minutes ondipheyo. On page 204 on program 1, we are saying on the recommendations that the department must present a clear plan to the committee on the decentralization of scholar transport. The plan must include the system to be used in the management of scholar transport, the human resource plan, and the internal control systems to be put in place to prevent any possible irregularities. Because nexhal ba xa ixake apha eprovinsini kungaze kube nzima xa ifika phaa ezantsi. So at least before doing that, the department must make sure that there are systems in place. The department must try to resolve labor-related matters amicably in order to minimize legal costs. Bane budget pha bayibekileyo ingathi inkulwanyana MEC sithi ke noko makube kuthethathethwano around the labor-related matters kungayiwe ezinkundleni, and we commend that at least you have started doing that. The department must provide the committee with an audit turnaround plan and the steps to be taken by the department to ensure the implementation of the audit turnaround plan. Ihleli department apha ku qualified. Said Maigiti Pume, MEC. We understand there are scholar transport challenges. The department must forge relations with organizations representing people with disabilities in its effort to increase the rate of employment of people with disabilities. The department must submit a plan to the committee on how it will improve its retention strategy. The department must provide the committee with a plan on how it will purchase the yellow fleet without the budget. Sifuna ke siyibone uba nizawuyenza njani ningayibhajethelanga MEC. PCMT process must be reviewed as it defeats the purpose of job creation in order to improve service delivery. Pity Premier and Mboni no teach. Kodwa ke HOD uyawuthi sichilo nawe MEC uba lento le PCMT asiyiboni kahle. The sooner you get rid of it, the better. On program 2, we quickly run to recommendations again. The department and SANRAL must clarify and share their agreement in working together and the impact of transferring provincial roads to SANRAL. Kukundethi ke xa uSANRAL ethe wafika wasenzela indlela apha Chair of Chairs simcelile le ndlela ceases to be ours ibaye kaSANRAL. Sike sayixoxa ke nathi by committee lento ithetha ukuthini kodwa ke siyavumelana uba siyalifuna uncedo kodwa ke there must be a kind of understanding between the province and national around these roads. The department, as committed to the committee, must approach SANRAL to assist with the upgrading of roads that are economic drivers, such as from Ekonge via Mount Cook to King Palo Airport, Buffalo Pass to King Palo Airport, Ngocha roads. Furthermore, the department must submit to the committee priority roads that lead to economic hubs of the province. The department committed that the workshop on integrated network master plan will be conducted to upgrade the committee or to update the committee on the progress made so far. A report is required to ascertain workings on master plan to achieve better road network. The workshop must be convened within 14 days after the adoption of this report. Procurement of additional yellow fleet must be expedited in order to pick up the pace of in-house road construction and maintenance. The department must provide the committee with its plans relating to construction of the Kobongaba Bridge, a park tender. The department must furnish the committee with the list of all roads and bridges that were affected by floods and possibly give estimated costs to be incurred to fix them. On program 3, on the recommendations, we are saying the department must consider renting out the unoccupied space to business people to open outlets in order to generate revenue by Mthatha Airport. The department must follow the PFMA requirements of monitoring government funding by requesting operational plan before releasing funds and monitor through quarterly and half-yearly annual reports. Sichoke kwinde dibene ne Algoa bus. Inenbe funimala pe department but I account when it comes over my account the operator via Ekebe. Scholar transport monitors seemingly are not well capacitated because fraudulent invoices and corrupt activities are committed in their presence in schools. So, the department said to Mike, iba capacitate. On the end, I have finding, sorry for that. The department must continue to engage the provincial treasurer for the allocation of more funding. Kulendoge again in scholar transport MEC bekesateta uyo apa izo. Kuyabonakala ba the budget of the Department of Transport ifika seyibhatala izikweleti ezidlulileyo the last financial year. So kunomncunya pa and kuthiwa by possible by August that budget will be exhausted yala department. So iyafuna nje uba makube khona into eyenziwayo ngokukhawuleza The department must submit a detailed report to the committee on the results of the investigations on officials who allegedly committed fraudulent activities on scholar transport and led to undesirable audit findings. Department of Transport and Department of Education MECs, together with HODs of both departments, must meet and resolve the issue of learner data that is not credible for smooth scholar transport operation. Kudala ke sithetha lento MEC, Honorable MEC Gade and Honorable MEC Ngat, that at least you must meet with your HODs so that these two departments can talk how best they can get credible data for learners that deserve scholar transport. So the sooner isenzeka londo, the better, so as to make sure that all deserving learners are transported.
You are left with 4 minutes, Honorable Member.
Monitors of scholar transport need to be well capacitated in order for them to be able to execute their mandate fully. The department must come up with a plan of providing Ndabankulu communities with alternative, reliable public transport. Sifumanise into okubana abantu baseNdabankulu akukho bus pa ebancedisayo that community. So kufanele uba bancedwe ngokukhawuleza okukhulu. On program 4, on recommendations, the department must provide the plan on how it will recover monies owed by the SA Post Office and municipalities. The committee appealed to the department to look in all possible ways in resolving payment of mfundis and others, as the matter is long outstanding. Again, the DG is not here. Nimxelele uba sichilo sithi lo mba lona mawuresolve ngokukhawuleza okukhulu. Noko kudala babasebenzi sibahlisa sibanyusa singurhulumente. Siyacela kangangoko. On program 5, the department must employ new strategy to ensure effective monitoring of road rangers for the smooth running of the project.
Honorable Chairperson, just hold on, I'll pause your time. You are left with 2 minutes.
Okay.
And within these 2 minutes, you must present the report.
I will be there.
Thank
Surely,
you
rest assured, Chair of Chairs. On the trading entities, on government fleet management services, the recommendation is that they must continue to keep engaging Treasury to give them more funding to be able to operate efficiently and generate more revenue for the province. Yegen Treasury, lendo yomani nitata la mali pa. Umaibuye City, the department must ensure inclusion of the union rep in the board meetings for transparency purposes. The department must come up with a plan on how it will assist MTC to replace the aging fleet. Iyaguga la fleet kama ibuye, City Department mayikhangela amacebo uba ibancedisa kanjani. In conclusion, the chairperson wishes to express its gratitude to every person, members of the committee and the support staff who contributed to the compilation of this report. I so submit the report for acceptance by the House. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Transport. May I get hands if there is any person who would want to raise a question of clarities to the committee. Honorable Tisosi, Honorable Makubela, one, Honorable Luana, two, Honorable Nyalambisa, three, Honorable Matiwane, four, Honorable Banga, five. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sosi. Can I refer the committee to page 204, Program 1, Finding B. Chair, I just want to check if the committee under recommendation B abakhange mhlambi bake bayibonisane ngokusetshenziswa kwe-services of uSolicitor General in order to minimize as a legal costs as besitsho, because that can also assist the department. Secondly, Honorable COC is finding C as well as a recommendation yake. I also want to check if the committee akhange nalapha ibe nayo in recommendation yoba the Office of the Auditor General and Public Service Commissioner, after the meeting assassinayo, that they'll be available with e-services zabo nabo to assist. Lastly, Chair, is page 210, finding E and recommendation E. I just need a clarity, Chair, around this one, because our understanding is that the Department of Transport, after the Ernst & Young investigation report with the findings of irregularities regarding this matter, the resolution was that the Department of Transport must use the SA SAM's learner data in respect of all the deserving learners. Why is it still the issue? Thank you, Honorable Sosi.
Honorable one. Okay. Number 3.
Yeah. Enkosi sihlalo usihlalo. Eyam ingcaciso sihlalo osihlalo nirhalela ikomiti. Ike indityebisele ngokuba pha kwela phepha lekhulu elinesine ithetha phaya ku-finding A ngokungavumelani kwayo nesebe yes 204 nokungavumelani kwalo nesebe xa isebe linombono wokokubana uthutho olu malihambe luyolawulwa ngokwengingqi ezizenzekela kuzo
Ndinento ethi ke mna ke sihlalo wosihlalo ukuba ikomiti ingakhi ndityebisele kuba mna umbono lo wesebe ndiwubona ubalulekile kuba xa uqaphela okokubana phaa ekuthuthweni kwabantwana izithuthi ezininzi azifakelelwa xa ethe lowo ebethutha wasweleka kuba imanejwa at a head office zingenzeki replacements ngendlela ekukuko. Kwakhona nezithuthi ezo ukuba zithe azabikho kumgangatho lowo isebe belinqwenela ukuba zibe kuwo kube nzima okokubana zitshintshwe kuba kulawula a head office, that is centralization of iskola transport. And xa uqaphela imibhikisho emininzi apha ephondweni yenzeka ngokungevisisani kwebhodi ethe provincial level and a head office. Kodwa xa inokulawulwa phaa kwingingqi imibhikisho ingakwazi uba ilawuleke. Ndiyarhalela kwikomiti ikisi ngaphandle kwezi zibekileyo zoba inexhala le-human resource, i-management. Kodwa xa ujonga gabalala ukulawulwa kwethutho ethe head office kunemiceli-mingeni more than bekunolawulwa kweza ngingqi uthutho lenzeka kulo. So andeneliseki ke ndiyifumene i-finding yayo. Ndiyacela ke ikomiti kicacise gabalala ukuba yintoni kanye ngenye ebangela uba ingavumelani nosebe uba uthutho luqhubeke kwingingqi ezi kuthuthwa kuzo abantwana. Mhlawumbi ke ndingantsokotha ngokolwimi olu ndilisebenzisileyo. Enkosi sihlalo.
Enkosi kakhulu.
Ndibona belaqaza oku ka.
Enkosi kakhulu, honorable member. Honorable members, can you sit down, Honorable Nyalambisa? Honorable Nyalambisa, can you take your seat? Honorable Matiwan.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Good morning to you and the committee. I've got two questions to the committee, Honorable Chair of Chairs. The first question, or clarity rather, is on page, I draw the attention of the committee to page 205 of their report. The finding is finding E. What the committee is talking about there is a shortage of employees with technical skills. And the recommendation to the same, regarding the same finding, the committee requires a plan. The question I have is, what seems to be a problem to this department as far as the committee is concerned regarding the availability of the required skills at the level they are referring to here? The case is road engineers, because the amount of road network we have in the province and the coordination of that network requires capable and efficient and effective personnel. But in the report, there seems to be a problem regarding the same. Can the committee qualify that finding in the recommendation for me? Because the recommendation seems to be ambiguous. It does not specify as to what exactly has been happening to lose the amount of skills that you have, notwithstanding the fact that you've been having capacity building initiatives happening in the department. Is it lack of money? That is an inherent issue I'm trying to find, or is it lack of processes being escalated, fast-tracked to acquire the relevant skills required? The last question, Honorable Chair of Chairs, is on program 2, road infrastructure. I draw the attention of the committee to their finding A and their recommendation. The committee makes mention of the SANRAL given roads or road networks to do,
But after constructing such roads, they cease to be part and parcel of the Eastern Cape asset register. Can that be qualified? Because our understanding is this house, we were told some time back ago that a portion of the budget allocated to province in the equitable share envelope, if we are then giving out roads, then to take from that money. At least this area of roads that are being lost now to the National Asset Register is something new from where I'm sitting. So if they can help to clarify that. The last issue, Chair, which is not mentioned here, perhaps both the committee and the MEC can explain. A DR road between Aituja and Ngamakwe, DR road, DR 0841 T41, which has never been maintained to the standard that community would expect. What is the plan regarding these long DR roads connecting from town to town? I'm just mentioning Ngamakwe as a case, as just an issue. It connects two towns. It's Ngamakwe and Aituja, and it's used by different communities of that area. What is the plan that the committee does have from the department regarding DR roads connecting towns to town? Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Panga.
Honorable Matuani has contradicted, but the committee states that.
Ask your own question.
States that they are concerned by the transfer of roads to Sandra. My view is that that's the best thing that have ever happened to South Africa, Sandra. Because all our roads in small towns, the provincial roads, they've not been maintained. What Honorable Matuan is talking about, possibly a provincial road not run properly. Why do we not agree that even if Sandral is taking this road, that's a good thing because we're still in South Africa? Because our people are
Honorable
going to get a service.
Honorable Bank.
I'm asking.
Honorable Bank. You are not expected to respond to Honorable Matuan. Ask your question.
Let me
or if you want to commend the finding, commend the finding.
Yes, I'm commending the finding.
Yeah.
I delete Honorable Matuan. I apologize. Deleted Honorable Matuan. Now, the point which is you are making a good observation, but
Honorable Bank, talk to me. Don't look at.
But why are we not agreeing that Sandra is doing a good job in our province? I've seen it. It's true, it's doing a good job. And accept that even if the roads are taken committee away from us, they are managed better. The people and the ordinary people of the Eastern Cape are going to get a quality service. Secondly, there are capable municipalities who can manage and run and reconstruct roads, like the municipality I'm coming from.
Chair.
Why, in your recommendation, you are not including the issue that the Department of Transport must consider transferring certain roads to capable municipalities? Possibly Buffalo City and Nelson Mandela can do that. The second question. The questions are here. The second question is that the Department of Transport last year in November, I'm not sitting in the committee, please, man. I'm not sitting there. In the Department of Transport.
Honorable members, we are wasting time.
Yeah. In the Department of Transport, in November last year, with the Department of Education, with the Portfolio of Education, they made a commitment, that committee, that they are going to introduce by January, a digital technology to capture and manage school transport, and said it will be perfect, then not even one single learner will be excluded. Have you identified the success of that technology that were promised with, whether or not it works or not? Lastly, the MECs, I'm looking at them, particularly the MEC of Education. You know, whilst we're talking about school transport is sleeping, whilst 36,000 kids have been led vulnerable without having access to school transport. That's why I'm thinking, you do not think that the committee must take an initiative and open a criminal case against both the MEC for transport and the MEC for education? Or should I do it myself?
Okay. Honorable members of the committee, for the benefit of the question of Honorable Matiwan, his core question was based on the equitable share. It was based on the equitable share, the matter that we all, if we are losing those roads from our asset register to national, what does it was on the, so that you don't get misled by the interjection by Honorable, and he has asked his own question. Over to you, Honorable members of the committee. Chairperson of the committee.
We are a well-capacitated committee. So we'll share our responsibility.
You have just 5 minutes to...
No, that's fine. On the solicitor advice, we agree we did not think about it, but we are advising the department to say, kabuye ngeneno at least when you deal with labor-related matters. So I think that advice can also be taken to say the department possible can invite the Solicitor General so that they can see how much as a department they have spent on legal cases. Going forward, they will then be very, very careful. That's one. On the learner data and the young, this is why we are saying, we are advising the department, the two actually, we agree with Honorable Bang, that they must meet where we disagree is to open a case. They must meet and thresh out what is so difficult from the Department of Education to get this reliable data of learners who deserve scholar transport. It has been there for quite some time, not being resolved, because for instance now, you've got two different figures. The transport department is saying plus minus 26 deserving learners won't be transported. Yesterday, the Portfolio Committee on Education, Honorable Saziu, was talking about plus minus 30 something. So you can see there is a difference. There is no reliable data. That's why we're saying the sooner they meet to resolve that, the better. Then therefore, we will know where exactly the problems around scholar transport are. That's two. The last one for me, before I give to my honorable members of the committee, decentralization, I think is unomdat. If you read our report through your chair, is that we are not opposed to decentralization. If you follow our report, our concern is only that the committee is concerned about the decentralization of scholar transport to districts due to, if you follow that line, due to lack of proper systems that were saying they must first be put in place before you decentralize. You go on a lack of manpower and possible corruption in the program. Put sufficient manpower in the district before you can say, I'm now decentralizing. Otherwise, in principle, we support decentralization as a committee. Thank you very much on my part. Honorable members.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Just to respond to one question that honorable members asked me to respond on, the issue of Sandral. Just to respond that roads in the context of a democratic state and a developmental state is an asset, first and foremost. The road is an asset, and therefore provincial roads are the asset to the province, upon which state generate income through different models of road usages. Therefore, the debate that the committee has engaged on is whether or not is it right that when we hand over our roads to Sandral, which we support, the Sandral is doing a good work, there's no ambiguity about it. But the question that committee then raises is whether is it right that as and when we hand over all our roads to Sandral, they become national roads. And therefore as a province we can't generate any form of income or revenue from those roads that we've handed over. Remember, there's an issue of tolling, there's an issue of weighbridge, and all the forms of generation. It's an issue that we're raising. And we said the department must engage with the National Department of Transport around this policy question. That's what we're saying. Otherwise, there's no ambiguity about the good work that Sandral is doing in the province of the Eastern Cape. We fully support that work. Thank you very much.
Okay, no, thanks, Chair. I think the one from Honorable Matiwana around that is 205E in 205. I think what if you read that is the recommendation. The recommendation is talking about the department to have a return strategy as far as the people with those technical skills are concerned. We're noting that there are people who are there, but at the present moment there's a serious shortage. But what you can do as the department, do everything that you can so that the ones that you have, you can retain them. And then if you have enough budget, because one of the serious problems with our department is a question of the budget. And also, some of these skills, it is not easy. That is for some of the people to come to our province. So we're then requesting the department to retain the ones that they do have, those particular skills. But I think the MEC will move further if I didn't explain properly, Honorable Matiwan. I think, Chair, that was the last question. I don't see any other one.
No, Chairperson, 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 the issue, the question from Honorable Markubela, she's saying there is a report of Ernst & Young that talks to the capturing of numbers through sums. That's what you are saying. Now, why are you going? Probably why are you also, or did you not check with the department? Why do we seem to be having different figures when there is that report that direct us on how to capture the reliable data? You can respond or you can refer that to the MEC. If also the MEC believes that there is a different data.
No, we thought we have responded, Chair of Chairs, on that one. I can repeat it.
Okay. No, it's fine if you have responded.
Yes, I did.
Covered. Okay.
And I'm warning while about Honorable Ndutu.
Okay.
You want me to repeat one, Chair of Chairs?
No, your response was that you confirmed that even from education, they presented a different a report in terms of the numbers. So you confirm the existence of the different numbers?
Yes, we are saying Ernst & Young, there is that report, which recommended in a way that the Department of Education and Transport must meet and have this kind of an information. The thing the department have not yet finalized the two departments. When we asked them, Department of Transport, have you met with education to deal with this matter of not having a reliable data? Yeah. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks. You can take your seat, honorable members.
Siyabonga.
Any questions to the MECs? Honorable Ngata, Honorable Banga, 1. Honorable Matuane, 2. Honorable Tuabu, 3. Honorable Pillay, 4. Honorable Nyalambisa, 5. Honorable Saziwa, 6. You have those numbers. We're starting with you, Honorable Banga.
I think one good thing, Chair, that the department have done to decentralize scholar transport, I hope education could do the same thing. But I want to ask to the MEC for transport that if we can take things and do them the other way around, that the 36,000 kids that have been excluded because of the negligence of the department, and just take it the other way around and take her children for 6 months and be excluded, how will she feel? And I'm asking this because we talk about these things so abstract, but they are happening to the poor, ordinary parents and children who are affected. And I want to understand, how will she feel that these 36,000 kids can be her own kids? That the last, or it's a he, okay? Maybe it's because it's an alien, we don't know. The other question I've asked here, the Department of Transport last year, in November, made a commitment to the portfolio of education that not even one kid is going to be excluded because there's a new technology that they've introduced that by January, everybody would have been registered through this technology. But can you give us an account whether the system that was introduced, is it working? And if it is not working, why it's not working? And how much have we spent in that system that have failed 36,000 kids? The last one is on municipal capacity. That MEC, why are we not transferring some of these roads that are provincial? Like, you know, Marine Drive in PE, in the bid front, the municipality wants to manage and rebuild that. But because it's a provincial road, the municipality can't do anything. Are you willing to transfer some of these provincial roads to capable municipalities? Thank you very much.
Honorable Matuane.
Honorable Chair, I note the passion of Honorable Banga when he raises questions about PE all the time. Honorable Chairperson, the question to the MEC is related to what the committee, well, they've explained it, but they could not finish their storyline, the explanation, the central question. They've explained the asset issue, which is we commend them about that. But what they did not explain to me, what is the department doing regarding that which Sandal is doing? Taking roads or national, taking our provincial roads now to become part of the National Asset Register. That's the last area that I wanted in the question, but the committee tried to respond, but they could not finish that one. And then regarding the town-to-town area, I think even that one, they could not respond if there is a plan of the network connecting towns to towns. I'm talking about rural TR roads that are in a bad condition.
Honorable Kanyai, Honorable Tuabu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. I've got one question to the Honorable MEC. It's on page 207, finding B. I understand that transport is forming part of the economic cluster. I just want to find out if the Honorable MEC agrees with that finding. If yes, how could that finding really be what it is? What is the likelihood? What is the possibility for it to be what the committee is finding it to be?
The Honorable Lengwe.
Honorable Chair, I just want to check with the Honorable MEC about the board of the Maibuya Transport, saying that, you know, they are resisting for the rep from the labor. I just want to check with the MEC that this matter, I think it has been raised some time. So, are they getting any response from the board? Is it because of their composition they don't want? Or is it just a genuine omission? Because it creates a lot of issues. Thank you.
Honorable Nyarambis.
Nkosisi, sihlalo wosihlalo. Mine, Chair of Chairs, is on page 204 again, finding B. Finding by 85.6 million, which is budgeted for arbitration cases, seems to be too much considering the gross shortage of scholar transport budget. Now that the portfolio committee in Oluloyiko, now we have vumelana nayo, kuba ndine understanding ethi Chair of Chairs. The budget for scholar transport is coming from the Department of Education. However, the portfolio committee raises something that budget scholar transport it fike dibane with budget department, and the department ingayisebenzisa nakweyiphi na into efuna ukuyenza. So ndikhalela ke ngomphathisa kandikhulule kule nto yoba eneneno loyiko le committee ingakibe into ekhoyo yoba budget ye scholar transport ayifiki izimele napha departmentini, ifika idibane nezinye so that izokwazi ukwenza other programs at department just like le arbitrations. Thank you, Sihlalo.
Thank you. Honorable Sazo.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. I've got 3 questions to our Honorable MEC. One relates to the aims of Program 3. I just want to check with the MEC whether the challenge of some of motor vehicles in the province using our roads but are licensed somewhere else, and that has a net effect in terms of us having our own revenue generation. What is the plan of the department, whether a campaign, if there's any, to encourage such owners of such cars to renew their licenses within the province? The second chair relates to something that is happening in N10 between current Ngobaye Temba and Gqeberha. Trucks transporting manganese are dodging fines at the weight bridges by dumping some of that manganese on the roadside, so that by the time they go to the weight bridge, they have the appropriate kind of, weight. Are the inspectors in the department able to pick that up? Because I think it's a matter that, because once it's dumped there, it's also very hazardous. It's very hazardous. I'm saying it's having negative influence in terms of the health of the areas where that manganese is dumped. The last one, Chair. There's this matter between the Department of Transport in the province and nationally on the case filed by Intercape Bus Company, because claiming that they are intimidated, their buses are damaged by the taxi industry. The implications of that in terms of the current budget, because for me it has a net effect. What is it that the department is doing to mitigate against that? Or is there any plan between the province and national to find an out-of-court settlement so as to minimize huge costs when that case is being handled. That was seems as if it's taking a longer time than is expected. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable MEC, you have a choice. You can, when you are replying to the debate, you can kind of also reply to the questions, or because some of the issues are more of a debate than questions. But I'll give you the 5 minutes to respond.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. I think let me greetings to you and the Honorable House and distinguished guests. Let me respond to some of them now. I've learned a lesson before that when you refer there, you sort of eat some of your time. Honorable Chair, let me thank the questions asked by honorable members. And with the questions raised by Honorable Mbanga in terms of if you were to twist numbers and how would I feel and so on. The Constitution of the Republic provides that whilst all citizens have rights, whether housing, education, and all that, but each of those are qualified that within the available resources. So the draft of the Constitution knew that resources won't be available in abundance. And therefore, the point that you refer to our department, that sometime last year, the department said that not a single learner will be excluded. Cannot come from our department in the context of what I just said now. It might have been your shadow MEC, in your shadow discussion, maybe. But surely it's not from the department, it's from the shadows somewhere. And then on the issue of an automated system, to move from an manual system to an automated system. Remember, from the 1st of April this year, we're supposed to go into this new system. The system, automated one, is live, needs to be activated. The only thing now, which is a delay, is the new contract, because we've advertised and the tender is closed. Now, there were issues between us and the role players in the industry, which we sought to resolve before we go full-blown to the new contract. That's why the delay now is now. I can assure honorable members, which will help a great deal once we get into it. And our own database now, we take the data from Department of Education, and our system is linked to SA SAMS. And we are working together with the Department of Education. We need to strengthen that relationship, their weaknesses, whether they've got to do with the closure of schools, so that there is collaboration. Before a school is closed, we must check whether, if there is a need for transport arises, whether we'll be able to attend to that. Those are some of the things that we're committing to strengthen, but we definitely working together, as a department, with the department in that regard. And the issue relating to MTC and the labor rep, that is agreed. One of the things that we're trying to sort out, because now there is a new union that is recognized there, with SADAW numbers having dwindled. Now there's been a contest as to which one must go there, and then SADAW would say no, it's the sort of position belongs to COSATU. It must go to COSATU now that they don't have numbers, and yet there is a recognized union. It's an issue that I'm engaging them so that we sort out. I don't think that my sense is that there is no position at MTC that they must not sit there, at least from where I am. It's a matter that we're going to be resolving, Honorable Chair. On the issue of the road, Honorable Matiwane, between Ngamakwe and Dujwa, it's with Sandal now being assessed in the context of the taking over of roads by Sandal. Maybe let me add that there is no relationship between the size of network and the budget. The grant itself for road maintenance is not linked to that. It's linked to the size of the population in each province. But in terms of assets, you can argue a case that it has, an impact. But I'm not sure if there is value in assets that have deteriorated, because the lifespan of the roads that we have, surface roads, many of them, they have long passed their lifespan, which is 20 years. And therefore, they are sort of valueless, so to speak. You need to rehabilitate them, not to even maintain them. And therefore, the person that has the capacity, to rehabilitate is better placed, and that person is not different, because Central is government, because it's a government entity. And let me add a point which I was going to say there, Honorable Unopala, true Chair of Chairs, Honorable Ndabeni, true Chair of Chairs. The point which the committee raised, which surprisingly is not appearing, the committee was, inviting or charging the department to learn from Limpopo on the benefits of having a roads agency. And I'm glad that we've already, the HOD is going there next 2 weeks. Is going with a delegation to Limpopo to see what their roads agency is capable of doing, so that we can also consider that in our own context. So those are some of the things that we sort of looking in this regard. And the issues of vehicles not being registered here, that point is taken, Honorable Sazua, and interestingly, there are leaders in the administration, leaders in the political leadership, whether municipalities, province, everywhere, the administrative leadership. So it starts from us to have vehicles that are registered somewhere else, and yet they are using our own road network. And we take the point that we must maybe engage in a campaign to encourage people.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Oh,
yes, 5 minutes is done. You then come back.
Hey, the 5 minutes, yeah, my fan in the Lamalungu.
Thank you.
Hey, there is no parity.
Yeah. Honorable members, then we are going for the debate of the report by political parties. I will call upon the Democratic Alliance, Honorable Van Bruggenrode. Your 12 minutes starts now. Thank you.
Honorable Alien Chair of Chairs, all alien members of this House, Acting Alien Premier, members of the gallery, I greet you all in the wonderful name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Chair of Chairs, it's a very sad day to stand in front of this House to debate this unfunded budget for the youth in this province. Yesterday we were saying accolades that we must celebrate Youth Month, but we are depriving the youth of this province. Having said that, Chair of Chairs, I would like to put it to note that the Democratic Alliance reject this budget in front of us for the very simple reason. We have had a debate yesterday on Department of Education on scholar transport. The MEC has paid lip service now on scholar transport, but the reality is, last year the budget was cut by 38% on scholar transport. This year a further deduction of 18.9% on scholar transport. Now, Chair of Chairs, let me put that in context. Whether we want to disagree about the numbers of 103, 36,000 has been left out, only 67,000 have been transported. The reality is that we have already spent 6 months of this budget to pay last year's debt. We've already spent it. The reality is that after September, we will not be able to pay service providers to transport children. So what's going to happen again? Toys, blocking of roads, schools are closing, children are not going to. So The failing ANC government is robbing our children from education. And it's unacceptable, Chairperson. It is clear that the Department of Transport is failing our children year in, year out. While we're paying lip service to say we are going to do better next year, but we're not doing it. These needy children are the future of our country. It speaks volumes of the failing ANC government. Honourable Chair, to further compound matters, the Department of Transport cannot provide value for money when it comes to service providing of scholar transport. The inadequate budget of this province will further have a negative effect on the dropout. We cannot continue in this vein year in and year out and expect a different result. Honourable Chair, to you, I'm appealing to the MEC. Do the honourable thing. Let transport of scholars be given back to the Department of Education in order to render an adequate, efficient, effective service to our children. They have the numbers, they have the data, they can have the monitoring factor of it, they can implement the systems and plan the routes in order to transport the needy learners of our province. Simply put, the Department of Transport is depriving the children's basic right of education. The Democratic Alliance will not support the failing, inadequate transport budget for scholars in this province this financial year. Education is a key component for a brighter future of tomorrow. Chairs, let me move on. Road infrastructure and maintenance. The lack of urgent repair of flood damage, pothole bridges and roads in the province is a crisis. The ongoing lack of road maintenance caused economic hardship to the population of the province. The lack of quick maintenance of damaged roads, bridges, hamper farmers to transport their produce, and that caused the economic hardship. Honourable Chair of Chairs, a few months ago, my colleague, Honourable Botha, has reported the notorious N10 pothole road that was also mentioned by my colleague sitting on this side to Sanral. This road was riddled with potholes. It forces drivers to swerve into oncoming traffic and caused damage to their vehicles. The N10 is but only one of the examples of our countless roads in this province that are not maintained. Honourable Chair of Chairs, let me not just criticize but give also a few remedies or steps that the MEC can take in order to prevent this. One, MEC, you should allocate new money to catch up on the road maintenance backlog in our province. More money must be made available for tarring of roads, gravel roads, and excess roads to hospitals, emergency service, agriculture centers, and tourism sites. MEC, you must also give clarity to this House as to what is the plans on the provincial roads that you are transferring or giving over to Sanral, as has been alluded to. Meaningful jobs can be created in this province if there's public-private partnership within this province. Honourable Chair of Chairs, let me move on. 24-hour traffic law enforcement. Nearly every weekend, reports are being given of fatal accidents and several fatalities in our roads. This is caused by the failing that this province is the only province that has not implemented 24-hour traffic law enforcement. Honourable Chair of Chairs, to you, MEC, our people are dying on a daily basis on our roads and lawlessness continues. In the Western Cape, traffic officers are on duty 24 hours, 365 a year, and this can be done in our beautiful province and our roads. Honourable Chair of Chairs, what steps can be taken to get our roads back into order? It's very simple. To you again, the establishment of a 24-hour traffic law enforcement in this province is needed today, MEC. All funded vacant posts must be filled as a matter of urgency. Additional provincial traffic officers is needed to be appointed. MEC, all outstanding overtime must also be paid in order to raise the morale of our current staff. The monitoring and removal of stray animals must be prioritized. Additional satellite office must be established in order to curb the long distance that needs to be traveled by patrolling officers. This can all be done by political will. We can also reduce our response time from a question that was raised to the MEC, and he responded that it takes sometimes between 10 to an hour to respond to an accident scene. And this can only be done during the 10 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning when there's no officer on duty. Honourable Chair of Chairs, we need drastic action to address the ongoing carnage on the Eastern Cape roads that is claiming the lives of thousands of loved ones across this province, and we can do that. Chair of Chair, let me move on to the organogram. This department has an outstanding organogram since 2014. It is clear without a fully fledged organogram that we cannot implement or prioritize the department's wills and wishes. We need to speed up this MEC with necessary timeframes that is set aside.
3 minutes left.
Honourable Chair of Chairs, let me move on to our entities. Maebuye. This entity is struggling year on and year out. Most of the company buses are not on the road. According to this report, 40 out of the 84 buses will be disposed of. Yet, we are giving money and we don't see any fruit of it. Metro Rail in this province has not been operating since August 2022. Without a rail network, traffic on our roads are the leading cause of fatalities and also the deterioration of our road network. The Democratic Alliance support the report, however, we do not support this budget. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Van Bruggen-Rode. May I call upon the African National Congress, Honorable Sondawa. Your 18 minutes starts now.
Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Leader of Government Business, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Members of Executive Council, I saw DDG representing DG there, table staff, HODs, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to greet you on this auspicious day. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I think I must say this here, that sometimes some of the things are quite confusing, because we would sit with the leaders in our committee, portfolio committee, and we are on the same wavelength on our oversight ecosystem. By sponsoring advices to the department, we do that successfully. And all of us. But here, it's funny when there are people who come here not advising the department what to do, but they grandstand here. But I think that is what they can do best. But the most unfortunate thing is that whether they can gain anything from what they are doing. Because I want to remind you, there has never been an initiative of nutrition, school nutrition. There has never been an initiative of scholar transport. It is an initiative of a democratic government. And when the things are not going right, we cannot hide that. We must tell the truth and hide nothing from the masses. This is what we are doing. So I'm warning and cautioning the members who are participating in our committees. If they are the leaders in a united sense here, whenever we are finding solutions in our committee, because next to each and every problem, there is a solution. You don't come here and mislead people. Honorable Chair of Chairs, all spheres of government have some responsibility for three key elements of the road transport system. 1, road infrastructure, 2, public transport, and 3, traffic management. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa outlines the functional responsibilities within the transport sector. Public transport is a concurrent schedule for a function between the national and provincial spheres of government. Municipal transport is a concurrent schedule 4B function falling in the local government sphere. Provincial roads and traffic are exclusive schedule 5A provincial function. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I must say, South Africa and Eastern Cape in particular have most, and I'm saying most, well-developed road network which facilitates the movement of people, goods and services over long distances. I'm saying most, I'm not saying all. However, increased investment in the transport infrastructure by government is important to address disparities that have arisen because of historical patterns of spatial development. In this side of the province, we have started to see development from 1994. We have never started in 1652 on the arrival of Jan van der Beek. It has never been the case with us. Honorable Chair of Chairs and honorable members, improve access to road and transport for the poor, especially in rural areas, is key to enhancing their quality of life, as this will facilitate their access to social services and economic opportunities. The South African road network comprises some 532,000 kilometers of proclaimed national, provincial, and municipal roads, and about 220 kilometers of unclassified roads, covering mostly rural access roads. Eastern Cape Road Network comprises of 32,000 kilometers. Sandral have share of over 4,000 kilometers, and municipal road network is over 33,000 kilometers. I'm sketching this picture, Honorable Chair of Chairs, because I want to say, province of the Eastern Cape is a construction site. Honorable members, this is evidence on the roads which had been completed by now. I'm coming up with scorecard now. Uba informers yabona is callers yahamba. R61 sisibiza ngamagama ngoku. R61 from Majola to Tombo R75 from Libote to Mgazi Mouth, R72 from Port Alfred to Fish River, R72 from Biha River to Fish River, N2 Makanda to Fish River, N2 Tejana to Sitede, Komkulu, R67 Whittlesea to Black High River. The list is long, is to mention but few. Additional, Honorable Chair of Chairs, to the completed, there are roads under construction as we are speaking now. N2 from Dr. Pasia's filling station to Mbogotwane, 19 kilometers. From Ngeleni to Kanzibe, 26 kilometers. Coffee Bay to the Tulele Hospital. From Ofimvaba to Askintin, 56 kilometers. R72 to Hamburg, 14 kilometers. Paving from Sulenkama Road to Tsilitwa. The list is long, Honorable Chair of Chairs. It is also worth mentioning that it is not about road construction only, but also creation of jobs, and local SMEs are also benefiting hugely in this initiative. Whilst we are still on the road construction, we think as a portfolio committee on roads and transport, it is also important to initiate a study on tolling some of our roads. We are saying to the department, must have a study on how to toll, because we are of the view and we believe that we are losing a lot in terms of revenue. That is why we are saying that if the department can initiate that study, whether it will succeed or not succeed, but it is good to make an attempt. We wish to implore the department to prioritize some of the roads in the province, which are economic driver, which lead to areas where there are economic activities, like Ekonge via Mount Coke, Buffalo Pass to King Paulo Airport, Ngocha, and many others in the province. If those roads can be prioritized by the department, we can appreciate as a portfolio committee. On our doctrine of oversight, we have observed that the closure of SAPO, which is reflected in our report, is adversely affecting revenue generation. It is for this reason that we are calling that an urgent intervention must be done in terms of whoever is responsible of opening post offices, he must do that, because this is also affecting our rural communities who are using post offices as their pay points. Honorable Chair of Chairs, on aviation, as a portfolio committee, we are pleased about the strides which had been made by the department towards development of Umtata Airport. But what we are saying now is that if there can be an increase on airline, because there is no competition there, no wonder it's quite expensive. We are making a clarion call, Chair of Chairs, that there must be more than one airline there, because now the things as they stand, there is no competition there. We are also urging the department to consider renting out unoccupied spaces to medium business people to open outlets in order to generate revenue at Umtata Airport. The department, as it is doing on community-based programs, we commend. We are of the view that they must optimize the program by aggressively embarking on labor-intensive service delivery infrastructure. The EPWP program remains the most impactful program towards creating work opportunities. we have a view as a portfolio committee, Honorable Chair of Chairs, that the department must be industrious towards reviving a rail network. It will go a long way in terms of assisting ferrying goods and people of this province. As things stand, it goes without saying that transport costs are very expensive. Working people, even ordinary people, would agree with me that transport costs are way too high now for them to afford. Honorable Chair of Chairs, on scholar transport, you see, that is not an easy matter. We can't sit here and pretend that everything is easy. It is complex and complicated. But we Honorable Chair of Chairs, the department sustained a qualified audit opinion. This is primarily the control deficiencies in the scholar transport program. If the decentralization is going to resolve and make things to be better, the department can forge ahead with that arrangement. But we are saying strongly that there must be anticipation of degrees of difficulties, risk management around that, and you make sure that you populate and so that you can avoid fraud. Because it would be a shame if you from centralization to decentralization, things become worse. That is a possibility. If you have not planned, well planned, and put everything in place, this is what we are saying, and we are repeating it. I don't think the department has a problem about that. Honorable Chair of Chairs, here the department has to find more added strategies and also anticipate and have an agility to the funding crisis of the scholar transport program in an aversion of the crisis which we nearly experienced in not so far distant past. And we are urging that the leadership, as we are advising as a portfolio committee, that they must do all what in their power in order to avoid the disaster which can happen in the process. This program is too pertinent and too big for it to fail. Above all, it will hit where it hurts most because the poor of the poorest are going to suffer more. Lastly, Chair of Chairs, we can't overemphasize the question of harmonization. We want to commend MEC and the department because in terms of labor relations and harmonization, you are turning the corner. That department, when we first had first encounter, there were serious challenges there. But now we see that you are turning the corner in terms of resolving these challenges. On 247, and we know that you don't have a budget of 24/7 because there are some things which are not there, but we are saying, because I don't know the research which has been done by an honorable member who was speaking before me, that the accidents are happening at night when the 24/7 is not there. But I am not sure, but he's not here, because I would try and assist him to understand. So we are saying, because when we read during Easter, though there were fatalities, but they were not worse than other previous years. And let me rest my case, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Thank you so much. As an ANC, we accept the report and accept the budget. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sondaba. I will call upon the MEC to respond to the debate. MEC, you have 10 minutes of responding to the debate of members, which they were allocated 48 minutes. But the actual, in total, but the actual usage of time, it was 30 minutes. So your 10 minutes starts now, Honorable MEC. Over to you.
Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Acting Premier, members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of the August House, the HODs and other senior managers, including of Maibuye and our government fleet, distinguished guests, and good afternoon. Honorable Chair, let me express our appreciation to the committee for the report that has been tabled. But I just wish to make a few remarks before I go there, Honorable Chair. And thanks to Honorable Sondaba for listing the roads that have been completed. And during the struggle for freedom was a struggle that sought to free not only the oppressed, but the oppressors as well. Free them from prejudices, free them for thinking that there is a white supremacy. Free those blacks who thought that that which is a success can only be associated with white people. I wouldn't be surprised many here they can deliver their speeches and list these roads to be belonging to the Western Cape because they can't associate with us. Because they can't associate success with black people. That's why the preoccupation, you can think that they represent the constituents of the Western Cape, and yet they are representing the people here. So you can see how they are prisoners of apartheid mentality. They can't even relate to what I'm saying because of being prisoners of that system. They can't relate to it. They can't relate to it because they even reject the budget. I mean, what's the difference? Leaders rejecting a budget. It is ordinary people who would say, I'm not going to vote. And yet vote is your power in order to make those who are elected accountable. But you have got leaders here to say, I'm not going to support the budget, but advise this on that. On what basis are you going to act? Who's all of a sudden doing when you have not supported the budget? Well, that tells us the kind of an opposition that we have, which is not constructive, which has got nothing to do with patriotism and building the province, which is self-serving, their own interests and their masters. They are not here now, their masters, they are only here, their masters, even this one is not a master. The masters are not here. Yeah, continue. No. You're making a big mistake. You are servants of your masters, not of the people. Honorable Chair, as I said, that we accept the report from the committee and appreciate the guidance that we have been given by the committee over this time. Perhaps let me remark about yesterday, though I will have an opportunity, Honorable Chair, to account a report that there were outstanding 7 questions from my department. We'll do an account on that, Honorable Chair, because those questions were responded to and we'll submit an evidence in that regard. And I've never been irresponsible. I will not start now, especially when it relates to this House and to anybody. So I'll never fail to submit unwittingly. So we'll submit that and back it with evidence, Honorable Chair. I thought let me remark on that and leave other distractions that are distracted. Uzoyanine canceling ngawe. Where are you going to cancel ngawe? So we agree with honorable members, Honorable Chair, about the challenges facing scholar transport. And some they shout as if it is their discovery, the issues of underfunding. And they have not discovered anything. Because if you look at the scholar transport budget, when we took it over from Department of Education, 2015-2016, the budget was 462 million for 68,000 learners. And come the last financial year, the budget was 699 million for 125,000 learners. And here is only an increase of about 20%. So there is nothing, Mtlegas, you have discovered here. Yet you speak as if you have discovered something. We appreciate the challenges, and we're committed to tighten this relationship with the Department of Education, as I've indicated before. And that as I stand here today, we're marking the Youth Month towards the end of the Youth Month, which is a critical month for our province, for our country, which the President of the ANC, the late O.R. Tambo, had this to say about the youth. The children of any nation are its future. A country, a movement, a person that does not value its youth and children does not deserve its future. These were the profound words of our late President, O.R. Tambo. And as part of celebrating the 47th June anniversary, the Provincial Department of Transport, in partnership with the NYDA, we convened a successful youth Indaba at Mendi Arts Center in New Brighton. The Indaba served as a platform for youth dialogue and on opportunities for youth in the private sector. This is one of the things that our government is doing. And the other honorable members, I'm delighted to inform this august House that, for instance, 52 traffic officers will be graduating on the 30th of June, which is this month, which I have no doubt in my mind that these young men and women will contribute in addressing the triple challenges confronting our country. And I know that even when we parade them, as the Honorable Premier did in the Youth Month event in PE, those who benefited from Iskalo and all that were there living, testimony. But people have the guts to say they are nowhere to be found because they are really married with, half-truths and with disinformation. Honorable Chair, we're going to be strengthening this issue of working with the local government, municipalities, as we deal with the challenges facing our road infrastructure. And the point, Honorable Mbanga, won't be transferring any road to municipalities, but we can work collaboratively on those roads, but remaining provincial roads. And that is why we have embarked on a process of procuring more than 30 pieces of yellow machinery to enhance our own capacity, at the same time to enhance municipal capacity to work on these efforts to deal with our roads. And in reflecting on the Sandral, the Portfolio Committee made some recommendations which we agree. And I'm glad to announce that the province is leading other provinces. And in the Presidential Coordinating Council, we're leading other provinces in requesting Sandral to take over some of our roads. In the last Presidential Coordinating Council, it became a decision that other provinces must follow the Eastern Cape and do as such. And because of the capacity of Sandral to deal with this thing and roads infrastructure. And the roads that the portfolio committee said that they must be prioritized, we've already prioritized them, including the Ngocha Road, for instance, is part of the roads that have been given to Sandral already, because we understand and appreciate the strategic nature of that road, and the fact that the volume of vehicles that is used there is incapable of,
1 minute left,
gravel road. And these roads include Buffalo Pass and the Mount Cook Road. We're also going to be surrendering, asking them, Sandral, to take them over. Honorable Chair, I wish to take this opportunity once again to appreciate the guidance provided by the Portfolio Committee under Honorable Chair Malamlela and the entire committee, and appreciate the report, and thanks very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. I put the report. Any objection? No, thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable members, we will adjourn for lunch, and we will be back at 1500, which is 3 p.m. Members, you have been here at the whole morning, and we are expected to be here again at 3, not after 3, and hence the lunch is provided for you at the lounge, at the dining hall. Sorry, at the dining hall. So you must be back here at 3, members. The lunch is provided for you. Thank you very much. The House is adjourned.